Good evening, everyone. Shana Tova M'vorechet. Just to dedicate the shiur for the success of the sponsor, the Moshe Baye family, B'ezrat Hashem, should be successful in everything they do. Leilui Nishmat Don Ben Esther. I'm very happy to be here after Rosh Hashanah. Ishtabach Shemo La'al. We had a last class, we spoke about Rosh Hashanah, about the secrets of Rosh Hashanah, of the Jewish New Year. And I just wanted to continue, because we have another holiday coming, Yom Kippur, and this is basically the holiest day in the year. You can see in Jewish life, this is the holiday that most Jews celebrate. Almost every Jew has a connection to Yom Kippur. So something is special about Yom Kippur. We feel the specialty, but we don't know really what is it. What's Yom Kippur all about? Why do we need this day? What's the uniqueness of this day? And if this day is so holy, how can we get the best from this day? What should we do before, on the day itself, and after, to get the best effect, the positive effect from Yom Kippur? I'm going to speak today a little bit about things that usually we don't speak in regular classes. This is a Zohar class. We're going to speak things that are a little bit more deep about the day which we call the holiest day in the year. The Gemara says that there's the most happy days in the year. There are two most happy days in the year. לא היו ימים טובים לישראל כמו ט"ו באב ויום הכיפורים. The 15th day of Av and Yom Kippur. This is Yamim Tovim. Yamim Tovim, it's good days. It's the most happy days. Tu B'Av is Yom Ahava, is the Jewish Valentine's Day. It's a lot more than Valentine's Day. It's actually very deep. It's a day of Zivugim, it's a day of matching. This day of Tu B'Av, it has a big power for those who want to get married, to pray at that day, to do certain things at that day, and B'ezrat Hashem they will get the best match. And this is a happy day. But Yom Kippur, it's also called the happiest day. If you ask people in the streets, what's your feeling on Yom Kippur? So most people would not tell you happy. You know, that's right, we wear white, but really we are like we fasting. We don't wash our face. We wear we doesn't wear leather shoes because it's too comfortable. We should not feel comfortable in Yom Kippur. When we wash our hands, we just wash half of the hand. We have a lot of custom. We're not allowed to put a cream on Yom Kippur to enjoy oils and creams. And we're not allowed to take a shower on Yom Kippur. You take a shower, you feel good. On Yom Kippur, you're not allowed to do that. So what happy? What's so happy about that day? If we do so many, we don't eat, we don't drink, so why do we wear white? So we have to understand what Yom Kippur is all about. So B'ezrat Hashem, in this class, I'm going to reveal some secrets from the Zohar and the Rabbi through the whole history, to understand a little bit more about Yom Kippur. And B'ezrat Hashem, hopefully this Yom Kippur, we're going to get into Yom Kippur different, with understanding of what we do, and a little bit more spirituality. So, first of all, I wanna speak about the day of Yom Kippur. This day, it's the 10th day of Tishrei. Yud BeTishrei. The 10th day of Tishrei. In the history, a lot of things happened at that day. Before God gave us the Torah and told us that we have to keep that day of Yom Kippur, to fast that day. There's a lot of things that happen in that day. The first thing happened in that day, Avraham Avinu, the first Jew, he got a commandment that he has to do circumcision, Brit Milah. At that day of Yom Kippur, he got the commandment, you do circumcision. This is the covenant between God and human beings. The chosen nation, this is going to be the Brit, the covenant. So that was happening in Yom Kippur. According to the Zohar, on Parashat Vayetze, the Zohar says that on Yom Kippur, also God commanded Abraham to go and sacrifice his son, Akedat Yitzchak. Which is, first of all, we have to understand how Judaism, we have to ask this question. We make from this, from this story such a holy and important. Avraham Avinu, he told God, for you, I will even kill my son. And that's what you said. That's terrible. I'm sorry to say, but it sounds like Islam, Muslims. That's what they do. That's what they do. By the way, if you look at the Torah, it says clearly in the Torah that we're not allowed to do it. It's called Le'avir beno ubito lamolech. Back in the days, they had a custom for their gods. They used to sacrifice their sons and daughters. That's what people used to do. And they had people were not, stupid. They were smart people. They got something out of it. Even Avodah Zarah, idol worshipping. Today we think, stupid people. Idol worshipping. They think an idol, it's God. That's not what was it. That's not what happened. Those idols, they symbolize a certain power of stars. And it actually worked. Idol worshipping worked. Someone was sick, he was working a certain idol that symbolized a certain star. They used to know how to take those powers from that star, and he healed. And he got money. That's why 2,000 years ago and more, people, the desire that was the Achi Chazaka, the strongest desire that was in the world was idol worshipping. Because it's really worked. Today we don't see it anymore because 2,000 years ago, all the rabbis of Israel were doing a 40-day fast to cancel this desire out of the hearts of all the people. Today, they tell you idol worshipping, you say, there's nothing in it, it's stupid. Because 2,000 years ago, they canceled this desire from the world. But before that, they had it. The world was different. So, same thing here. Same thing here. In the Torah, it says clearly, Chas v'shalom, you're not allowed to sacrifice your son. But there is a whole story about Avraham Avinu, the first Jew, that Hashem tell him, go, sacrifice your son. So there's few answers to this. If you look at the Torah, it never says sacrifice your son. God tells Avraham Avinu, Avraham, take your son, ve'aleu le'olah. Aleu le'olah means put him on the place where they sacrifice. But it doesn't say to do it. He just tells him, just put him there. And why God is doing it? The test of Avraham was different than what we think. We think, what was the test of Avraham? The test we think was, if you're willing to kill your son for God. That was not the test. The test was like this. God, right before, he told Avraham, you're going to have a son, Yitzchak. This son, from him, the whole nation of Israel, which they carry the mission of life of the world, they're going to come out of him. That's what he promised him before. And now he tells him, before he got married even, and he doesn't have kids, now he tells him, sacrifice him. So Avraham Avinu had a question. Each one of us should have a question. God, 1 second. Few years ago, you tell me that from this son, the whole nation of Israel will come and they will carry the mission of the world. And now you tell me to kill him before he got married, doesn't have kids. Was the question in the head of Avraham all the time. Now Avraham lived in Hebron. The Akeidah to sacrifice Yitzchak was in Jerusalem, in Rabbi, when the temple is. This is 3 days walk. So 3 days of Avraham Avinu walking from Hebron to Jerusalem with this question. I don't understand, it contradicts each other. God tells me that he's gonna have a whole nation coming out of him, and now he tells me to kill him. And you know what was the test? The test was that Avraham didn't ask the question. He had such a belief. And he understood that everything that Hashem is doing is for good. Everything is for good. And then he comes to Jerusalem. He put Isaac. Now Isaac was not a kid. He was 37 years old. Yitzchak was 37 years old. By the way, Yitzchak told Avraham, I wanna die for Hashem. So he put him on the mizbeach, on the wood. And then we all know the story. The angel came and told him, don't touch him. So what is all this story coming to tell us? People think that what we study from here, that you have to be you're such a believer to believe that even your kids you give for God. But that's not the lesson. That's the Muslims. That's what they understood from this. You know what we the Jews understand? The angel came and told him, stop. You don't do things like that. That was the time that God taught the whole world that we don't do things like this. That we don't sacrifice our sons and daughters. This is not right. By the way, after they came from the mountain, everything happened on Yom Kippur. They came from the mountain. Who was waiting for them? Ishmael. You know who is Ishmael? Our cousin. I lived in Israel in a city called Carmiel. In the city I lived, all around, Arabs. Everybody is Arab. Like Carmiel is one city of Jews and surround all Arab villages. As a kid, I knew Arabic. We were talking in Arabic because they were our friends. And I saw how different they are from us. Ishmael, all the Muslims came from him. When Yitzchak came from the Akeidah, it's called Akeidat Yitzchak. He came from the Akeidah, came down. So Ishmael, his brother, asking him, Ma kore? What happened? How was it? What happened there? Tell me. So Yitzchak, he didn't have a lot of time to explain him, but he told him basically that, he told him that God told Avraham to sacrifice me, to kill me, and then the angel came and told him to not do it, that he passed the test. And then Ishmael understood, so God loves when we sacrifice ourselves or our kids for him. That's why Ishmael understood. And from there, they took what they do today. Bomb themselves. From the same situation, they got the wrong lesson. By the way, the biggest terrorist organization, how they call themselves? Al-Qaeda. Al-Akeidah. From the Akeidah. El in Arabic it's the Akeidah. They learn it from there. From Akedat Yitzchak. They bombed the Twin Towers, right? So you see, Al-Qaeda, it's the same letter as Akeidah. Al-Akeidah. So this is the wrong lesson. Let's go back to Yom Kippur. Yom Kippur, that's the day of the Akeidah according to the Zohar. So we see it's a holy day. Another thing that happened on Yom Kippur, Moses came back after 40 days, the second time. The first time he was 40 days in heaven, he was receiving the Torah for Am Yisrael. He came back and they did the golden calf. Then he went back in the first day of Elul for another 40 days. From the first day of Elul, 40 days, it's going to be the 10th day of Tishrei, which is Yom Kippur. Yom Kippur is the second time Moses came down with the tablets and gave it to the nation. This is Yom Kippur. There was another thing happening in the history on Yom Kippur. There was a great rabbi, his name was Rabbi Akiva. I'm sure you're familiar with this name. Rabbi Akiva, one of the biggest rabbis in the whole history. He lived 120 years. He passed away on Yom Kippur. The way he passed away was very horrible. The Caesar of Rome killed him slowly in front of his students on Yom Kippur. And according to the teachings of Kabbalah, there is a reason why it happened like this, why he was killed like this. Because of him, we have a merit until today. Because of him giving himself with happiness. If you look at the Gemara, how the Gemara describes his death, it's unbelievable. The person reads Shema Yisrael when they kill him, and he's happy. And the students ask him, Rabbi, how come you happy now? Don't you feel the suffering? And how come it happened to you, such a great person? And you know what he answered them? He told them, Kol yamai chikiti larega hazeh. I was waiting for this day all my life. Now Rabbi Akiva is not just quoting things, He really meant it. He was waiting for this moment all his life because he knew that his death brought a lot of good things to Am Yisrael, to the nation of Israel, for the whole history. So Yom Kippur, it's a very holy day. Now let's understand a little bit about what Yom Kippur is all about. But before, we have a custom called Kapparot. Kapparot, by the way, maybe after the shiur, those who once maybe will make Kapparot, not with a chicken, because I don't have chickens here. But we have to understand, let's speak open. This is very weird, A bunch of Jews taking chickens, and they surround it above your head, and say, זה חליפתי, כפרתי, תמורתי, זה התרנגול ילך לשחיטה, ואתה תיכנס, this chicken is we're gonna slaughter him, and you're gonna be safe, and you're gonna have a good life. It doesn't look normal. Nachon? We all do it. Nachon? That doesn't look normal. In general, Judaism, it's not normal. Like, look at our holidays. Sukkot is coming. You see a bunch of Jews in synagogue. They take different fruits and grass, and they take those fruits together and they do like this. What happened with you guys? Why you do that? You know, I was in Moscow once, and maybe 15 years ago, 10 years ago. And it was time of Shacharit to pray, and I didn't have time. I don't know what happened there. They didn't let me out of the airport, so I needed to pray in the airport. So, okay, so I put my talit on, and I put my tefillin, you know, and I had a big one. And like I saw the people, maybe people that never saw a Jew, you know, they look at me like, what are those black things? They thought I'm a spy or something. What's that? What's this? Is antenna? What you try to? What's this? And here 7 times, and we do this, and it's very weird. Judaism is very weird. You're not allowed to wear linen and wool together. What's the problem? Don't mix milk and meat together. What's the problem? Pesach, no bread. The whole year, if you see bread on the floor, you kiss it. When Pesach comes, you burn it. Does it make sense? No, you just eat crackers on Pesach. 7 days. We have to understand, Judaism doesn't make sense. And it's okay. You know why? Because Judaism it's a spiritual thing. We deal here with spirituality, not with physical things. If we're not gonna do those classes to explain the deep meaning of it, we would not understand it. We're gonna do it because we believe it's good. But you know, when you understand what you do it a lot more, you feel it, you do it a lot more with happiness and motivation. So let's try a little bit to understand. Of course, to understand those things, we have to go very, very deep. We have to know a lot of introductions of how God created the world and how the spiritual worlds are built and what we do in every action. But as much as we have time, we'll try to explain some customs that we do on Yom Kippur so we understand them better, and we will get into Yom Kippur, you know, different, with understanding. So Kapparot. What's the whole chicken thing? Why we do it? So first of all, there's something called amtakat dinim, sweetening the judgments. What's that? Each one of us has judgments. Judgments, it's the problems that we have. Anything that doesn't go the right way, it's because it's stuck, it's because it has judgments. Dinim. Any problem, it's because of negative powers that surround you and doesn't let you succeed. This is called in Kabbalah judgments, dinim. So basically all our problems in life, it's dinim. It's judgments. We have to sweeten the judgment. To cancel judgments, we can't. Why? Because we are in the physical world. We have to have problems. That's the whole concept of this life. To have problems, to not remove the problem, to sweeten the problem. That's what we need to do. What we do on Yom Kippur, it's a day that God gave us that we can reset our soul. We get a new soul. We clean our soul and we start a new beginning. The whole year we did what we did. A lot of negative powers came into us, surrounding us. The aura that we have, this light that surrounds us, that protects us spiritually, got ruined because of different things. And now we have an opportunity to clean everything and to fix everything in one day. This is Yom Kippur. To do it, we have to be like angels, we have to be very spiritual. There's one day that we are extra spiritual. That's why we don't eat. Because when you eat, you connect it to the physical world. On Yom Kippur, you need to clean yourself spiritually. You cannot be connected too much to the physical world. So you don't eat, you don't drink, you don't wear leather shoes, because leather shoes it's comfortable. And also, if we're going to go more deep, leather came from the snake. The first leather in the world was the snake leather. The snake symbolized the negative powers, the Yetzer Hara, the Satan. So we don't wear it on Yom Kippur. Why? Because the Satan doesn't have power on Yom Kippur. That's the only day during the whole year that the Satan doesn't have power. And that's why Hasatan, the Satan, the Gematria, the numerical value of it, it's 364. Hasatan, 364. How many days we have in the year? 365. Because one day the Satan is not there. It's Yom Kippur.
Wait, say that again.
What?
Say that again. The Gematria.
Hasatan, Hey it's 5, Shin is 300, Tet is 9, Nun is 50.
Okay.
Together is 364.
One day without one day.
So one day without Satan, it's Yom Kippur.
But what's Satan like? Like the Yetzer Hara?
The Yetzer Hara, Hasatan, ken.
Not like a devil.
It's like the devil. But not the devil you know.
Not like the God.
Not the devil, not the devil the Christians make us think. We call him in the Zohar the Sitra Achara, the Samech Mem. He has a name, by the way. Samech Mem, Aleph and Lamed, that's his name. That's the source of negative powers. Source of negative powers is Samech Mem, Aleph and Lamed. We don't say this name because it gives them powers. Right? So, it doesn't have power on Yom Kippur. On Yom Kippur, we have an opportunity to clean our soul and to start a new beginning. And that's why this day is so special and so important. Now, before we get to Yom Kippur, we do Kapparot. Why we do Kapparot? Chicken symbolizes judgments. You know, one of the most stubborn, the most stubborn bird is the chicken. That's what the Gemara says. Those who, my parents lived with chickens all the time in their house. So, chickens are stubborn. Stubborn means judgment. It's the opposite of kindness, of letting things go. Chicken symbolizes gvurot, dinim. There's a lot of gematriot, numerical things that I can prove it to you, but we're not going to get into all the Kabbalah details. But chicken, the Arizal says, symbolize the biggest power of judgment. What we do when we take the chicken and all the negative powers that we have, that we collected the whole year, we take it and we kind of put it on the chicken. All the judgments, take it. And then you shech the chicken, you slaughter it. So it means you kill the judgments. You kill the judgments. And therefore, all the negative things that you have in you, evil eye, problems, chas v'shalom, even health problems, everything goes away. And that's why the chicken need to be white. A white chicken, because white symbolized to clean. Now, someone asked me once, poor chicken, you did, you collected a lot of negative energy, you did sins, and now the chicken suffers because of you. Especially vegan people, it's very, touching them, those stuff. My wife is vegan, so I know. So what would you answer to this guy? Be'emet, the chicken is not poor. If the chicken would have a mouth, if he could speak, he would tell me, please, I don't have any better purpose in life than being a Kapparot chicken. You know why? I'll tell you why. First of all of us, we eat chicken. Right? All of us. Those who doesn't eat chicken, kol hakavod. You know? Very good. Vegan people have a big respect. Because they're right. If you don't look at in a spiritual with the spiritual eyes, we are all wrong. Who gave us the permission to eat animals? This is against the morality. I see some people say like, yeah. It's against morality. Who says you are better than the chicken? Now we have also a question to ask the vegan, you know. If you eat a lettuce, poor lettuce. It also has leaves. You know, but what's the problem? The chicken, you see the blood, you see the suffering. The cucumber, you don't see him suffering. So it's okay. But really, the Gemara says, when you cut a tree, there's a voice, there is a scream. The tree screams, Misof ha'olam be'ad sofo, from one corner of the world to the other corner of the world. Did you know that? You know that they checked today, you know there's a mechonat emet. Mechonat emet, it's the, I don't know how to say it in English. Huh? Lie detector, right. So they put it on you and they feel your emotions. And they know if you lie or not. So they put it to vegetables. They wanted to check the reaction of vegetables before you cut them. It was an experiment. It's a scientific thing. I have even a video on it in my house. They made a whole video and they saw that when you take fire and with the fire you come to the vegetable that is connected to this lie detector and you say, I'm going to burn you now. You see that the vegetable, the emotions of the vegetables are moving. He's afraid. You don't have the knife. You just say, I want to cut it now. He's already starting moving. They know your thoughts. So I'm sorry for all the vegan people. It's also against morality to eat vegetables. Just because you don't see them suffering, it doesn't mean that they don't suffer. They do. So what they tell you, but what we're gonna eat, Rabbi? No meat, no fish, no vegetables. We have to live somehow. Right, so we have to understand why do we eat vegetables and who gave us the permission to eat vegetables and to eat chicken? Why we do that? Why when you have a chicken on your Shabbat table, you don't feel bad? So I'll tell you why we should not feel bad. Some people, they should feel bad, by the way. We don't feel bad because when you look at with the spiritual perspective, you make a big favor to the chicken. I'll explain you that a little bit more with a parable. This question was asked the Rabbi Milubavitch from New York. It was a Chabad rabbi in somewhere in the world that he made lectures, and there was a couple that were vegan, and they slowly became more traditional because of the lectures. They wanted to keep the Torah, but they had a problem. They didn't want to put mezuzah. Why they didn't want to put mezuzah? Because mezuzah, it's written on leather. And the guy didn't want to put tefillin, because tefillin is made from leather also. He says, poor animals, you killed them for tefillin. So first of all, I don't know why he asked that question, because I know I'm writing mezuzot and tefillin. The leather, it's from an animal that already died. Like after the animal, we don't kill it to get the tefillin. They kill it because different reasons, and then it's already died, so you take the leather and you make tefillin. But he asked the Rabbi Milubavitch, thank you. He asked the Rabbi, why? How should I speak to this couple? What should I tell them? So you know what the Rabbi told him? He said like this. With a physical perspective on life, what's the worst thing can happen to us in life? What's the worst thing can happen to each one of us? Die. Right? That's the worst. That's in a physical perspective. But if you look at it in a spiritual perspective, death, it's not the worst thing. Because there's life after. Right? Maybe the worst thing is that you're not going to have a life after. Or your life after is going to be horrible. That's worse than death. Now, from an animal perspective, the animal will die. I think butterflies, they live only for 24 hours, if I'm not mistaken. So you ask, what's the purpose of them? For what, 24 hours? If you look at the animals in the world, do they have a purpose? What's their purpose? Vegan people, that they have mercy on we also have mercy. We have a mitzvah in the Torah to not kill animals. To not kill just without a reason. To not make the animal suffer. When you come home, if you have an animal, you have to give them food before you eat. That's halakha, that's a law in Judaism. You're not allowed to eat before you give your animal to eat. So how come Judaism says slaughter the chicken of Kapparot? So we have to understand that the chicken, if he's gonna die as a chicken, poor chicken. He has no purpose. But when I take the chicken or the lamb, and this lamb became a Sefer Torah, he became a Torah. You elevate it. You gave it a purpose. You gave it something holy, the book of God. When we eat, we elevate the soul that is inside the chicken. That's how we eat. And if you don't eat because of that, you should be vegan. That's why we eat, and we know that we have a reason we eat. Not just because we want to have fun. That's the right thing to do. And that's why Judaism says, when you take this chicken and you make Kapparot, you give this chicken a purpose. He helped you. And you elevate it. Now today we don't do this Kapparot with chicken. Most people do it with money. And it's very good to do it also with money. Why? Again, we take all this negative energy, all the judgment that is on us, and we cancel it. And that's why this is a very important custom. We should keep it, and we should do it before Yom Kippur. You don't have to do it only on the day of Yom Kippur. You can do it even before, even today. You do Kapparot, and I'll tell you even more than that. Rav Mordechai Eliyahu, one of the biggest rabbis in Israel, the chief rabbi of Israel, he said that any problem we have in life, the whole year, if a person is sick, if a person has chas v'shalom, he has a court that he's afraid what's going to happen there. Any problem he has a shlom bayit, he doesn't have peace at home. And he feels a lot of pressure, a lot of judgments on him. Something is closing his mazal, his luck is closed. Rav Mordechai Eliyahu would say, do Kapparot. It will help you. If you can do it with a chicken, he said, we should, when you go to a hospital, he always was telling the students, when you go to a hospital, you have to take a black bag and to hide a chicken. Bring it to the hospital, make a parot to the guy, hide it back and go home. That's how you should go to the hospital. That's what he used to say. He understood how important is it. And I know myself, I had few situations of people that were sick. And we came and we did few times kapparot to them, and they got out of it. Because when you give a certain amount of money, it's a sacrifice. When you sacrifice, Hashem sacrifice for you also. Yeah.
So, how much money is the value of the chicken?
How much a chicken cost today?
$15.
$15. So I would say $15. It's the minimum.
Not really a sacrifice.
Right. But even $15 is it's something. I would say people that are sick, they should give something that will be like harder for them to give. Because money called in the Torah, damim, blood. When you give money according to Kabbalah, you sacrifice yourself. You take your blood out. Right? You worked very hard. You can use it for enjoyment. And now you give it out. It's very hard. You feel your blood is coming out. That's why for people it's very hard to give charity. So that's the minhag of the kapparot. It's very important. We have another thing on Yom Kippur, before Yom Kippur. It's called the 9th day of Tishrei, the day before Yom Kippur. The same way we have a mitzvah to fast on Yom Kippur, we have a mitzvah, an obligation, to eat a lot the day before. According to the teachings of Kabbalah, if you can, you need to eat the day before Yom Kippur like you eat in 2 days. There's few reasons why. The Kabbalistic reason is because when we eat, we fix. The reason God gave us the desire to eat is because we have to elevate certain sparks, holy sparks that are located in the food. That's why there's certain food that we're not allowed to eat. You know why we're not allowed to eat a pig or a horse? Because the sparks that is in the pig, it's so low level sparks that we don't have the power to elevate them. If we will try to eat them and elevate them, it will happen the opposite. Those sparks will get our soul down to their level, and we're going to behave like them. But animals that are more, look at the animals that are kosher. They are very, first of all the kosher animals are vegetarian. All the kosher animals are vegetarian. They are all very, classic, gentle, a lamb, a cow, lion is not kosher. Horse is not kosher. They're very calm. And the reason is because the spark, the holy spark that is inside, the soul that is inside those animals, it's a soul that is fixable for us in the level that we are now. When Mashiach is going to come, by the way, our spiritual level going to go up. We will be able to eat pork. That's why it says chazir milishon atid lachazor v'liot kasher. The word chazir from the word to come back, leachzir. Because the chazir, the pig, will come back being kosher when Mashiach is coming. So hold on with the bacon right now, wait for Mashiach. Why? Because in the times of Mashiach, we will be able to fix it. If now you're going to eat it, the pig is going to take you down. It's going to ruin your soul. You don't have the powers to elevate the soul. Same thing, all the non-kosher food that we eat. We think, oh, why Hashem is doing all those rules for the Jews? Don't eat this, don't eat that. We just don't understand the spiritual reason of it. It's all made for us. It's like there's certain food that it's not healthy physically. There's certain food that is spiritually not healthy. You can't elevate it. It's going to take you down. So, the day before Yom Kippur, every second you eat, you make a mitzvah. I like this day. Everything you eat, yeah, my rabbi told me, at the day before Yom Kippur, you should have a chips always with you. Because that's the only day during the year that every second you eat, you just fulfill a mitzvah from Torah. Because this day, the day before Yom Kippur, it's called a holy day. It's called like Yom Kippur himself. And everything you eat, it's a mitzvah. Now, why do we need to eat extra at that day? Because on Yom Kippur, we don't do the fixing of Yom Kippur. We don't eat, we don't elevate nothing because we're fasting. So you have to make sure you elevate more the day before. You fix more the day before. So you eat more. Now, on Yom Kippur, I want to suggest you something that will really, it's a big secret, it's a big thing. People forget to do that. When we do the meal before the fast, this meal is very important, Seudah Mafseket. This day is a holiday. We should cover the table with a cloth, with something like Shabbat, you know? Something beautiful. We put a Torah or something holy on the table. And then we bless our kids. Before the fast comes in, you should take all your kids after you eat, and you should take each one of them, put your right hand on their head, and mamash bless each one of them. In your own words. You don't have to say a certain text. Just bless them, because this moment is very, 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 very big. The gates of heaven are open, and whatever you're going to bless them, Bezat Hashem, is going to become true. So at that time, it's also it's very uniting, you know? You bring all the family, the father or the mother, just put your right hand, because the hand is very important. If they can kiss your hand before, you remember last week we spoke about that? Because the hand has same thing. There's 5 judgments. We spoke about that last time. I'm just going to repeat a little bit again. There's the alphabet that we have, Aleph Bet, has 22 letters. And there's another 5 letters that called Sofiot. This is the end letters. Chaf Sofit, Pei Sofit, Mem Sofit. There's 5. Why they are in the end? Because they symbolize judgments, problems. Those letters has a certain negativity. Now the 5 fingers that we have symbolize those 5 letters, and that's why the hand is the source of power. And the hand has a lot of judgments. That's why we have power, because we have a lot of judgments here. That's why when you bless with your hand, you have to sweeten the judgments. When your kid kisses your hand, before you bless him, he's sweetening the judgments, and then the blessing is a lot more powerful. Yeah. No, this is in Havdalah. This is something else, yeah. So they kiss your hand, and then you bless him, and you say, bless him for spiritual stuff also. That he should go in the right direction. He should be a tzaddik, have a good character, you know, not being angry, being polite, you know, good things. You don't have to say it out loud even, just whisper it. He doesn't even have to hear. And those blessings are very powerful at that time. Okay, before the fast begins. We have another thing that we do on Yom Kippur that I wanted to speak about. Now, by the way, we spoke about the Kapparot. Let's go back to the Kapparot because there's something very important in the Kapparot. Last time we spoke about the 72 names of God. We said that there's 72 names of God that coming out from 3 sentences in the Torah in Parashat Beshalach. Those 3 sentences, each one of them has 72 letters, one after the other. Vayavo, Vayisa, Vayet, they have 72 letters. The Zohar says if you take the first letter of the first sentence, and the last letter of the second sentence, and the first letter of the third sentence, it's come up with the first name of God. And then you take the second letter of the first sentence, and the one before the last letter of the second sentence, and the second letter of the third sentence, there's another name of God of 3 letters. There's 72 names like this. Those are the 72 names that each one of them has a certain energy that brings to the world. So I told you last time there's one name called He Aleph Aleph. This is against evil eye. If you have a meditation on that name, you're going to cancel an evil eye of any person. He Aleph Aleph. You have Parnasa, income, wealth. We have 3 names of God that bringing the energy of wealth to the world. If you're going to make a meditation on those letters, you're going to bring to yourself an energy of wealth, of Parnasa, of income. It's good for businessmen. That's what we do every day in the prayer. We say Poteach et yadecha u'mazbi'a lechol chai ratzon. Poteach et yadecha is the first letter of every word is Pei, Poteach, et, Aleph, Yadecha Yud. Pei, Aleph, Yud, Pi. This is the first name of Parnasa, of income. If you have this name in mind, you bring energy of wealth to yourself. Now, there's another name of income. This is called Chatach. We spoke about it last time. When we do the Kapparot, we say, Ze Khalifatecha, Temuratcha, Kapparatcha. We say those 3 words. That this money or this chicken, Khalifatcha, it's going to be instead of you. Temuratcha, Kapparatcha. Take all your sins out instead of you. Those 3 words, if we're going to look at the first letter of each word, is going to be Khalifatcha Chet, Temuratcha Taf, Kapparatcha Chaf, Chatach. Chatach, that's the name of Parnasa, the name of income. That's why when you sit and they do Kapparot, you have to have in mind this name, Chatach. In Hebrew, Chatach is to cut. Why? Because at that moment, when you do the Kapparot, Hashem cuts a portion for you for the whole year, how much income you're going to get. And if you have this name in mind, you're going to get a good portion. Zad Hashem. It's also the same name brings good, successful life. Chaim Tovim. So that's why, in the time of Kapparot, we have to have in mind to this name, Chatach, Chet Taf Chaf. You know, in my synagogue, when I do it, I write it down on a paper and I tell them, think this one. They look at it and then I do the Kapparot. It's very powerful. They always come after Yom Kippur, say they come the Yom Kippur after that. The next year they say it was a good year. Baruch Hashem. Because when you have those names in mind, you bring that energy in. Everything is in our mind. Our thoughts has so much power. I don't know if we made a lecture about thoughts, but thoughts, it's one of the most powerful things in the world. So this is another thing we can do in the time of Kapparot. Now let's go into Yom Kippur himself. We said on Yom Kippur we fast. And the reason we fast, because it's a spiritual day. And the more we disconnected from the physical world, we can clear our spiritual life. So that's a day of spirituality. That's why we don't eat, we don't drink, and everything. Because as we said, the Satan, the Samech Mem, has no power almost on Yom Kippur, That's why we don't need to wash our hands completely to the whole hand. On Yom Kippur, we just wash half, to the end of the fingers. What's the reason? Because every day when we wake up in the morning, we have a negative spirit inside our hands. When you go to sleep, your soul leaves the body. There's just a certain part of the soul called Nefesh HaBehemit that stays on your body. The rest of your soul goes away. And we have dreams, you located in different places. According to your actions during the day, you get to a certain place in the upper worlds. By the way, you can know your level according to your dreams. If you dream things that are very physical, it means you are very low. People that are very spiritual, their dreams are spiritual. They dream about Torah. They dream about, I have a whole book of Rabbi Chaim Palagis, the Rabbi of Turkey, 200 years ago. He has a whole book of dreams. And in this book, he tells you all the dreams he had and how he gets chidushim, new ideas in the dreams about different questions he has during the day. He has a problem in something that he's studying, he doesn't understand, he goes to sleep and they tell him the answer in the dream. He has a whole book. So you see, people that are very spiritual, they will dream spiritual things. People that are very physical, they will dream very physical things. People that they don't know their purpose, so the dream's also going to be without a purpose. Very weird, like funny, doesn't make sense. Now, when our soul goes away, it comes back in the morning. Because it went away, there was an empty space, empty of soul. At that second, because it's night, a negative spirit came in. Why? Because we are holy, and they want to take a little bit of, they live from holiness also. The negative powers, the Samech Mem, they need Kedusha, they need spirituality to live. Where are they going to get it from? From us. So they come when they have an opportunity. So then, when your soul comes back, this bad spirit leaves. And if you remember, we spoke about nails a few weeks ago. Because we have nails, and nails, it's a very holy thing, because it's the leftover of Adam and Eve. Adam and Eve, their whole body was nail. Nails is very spiritual. Because of the nails, the spirit, the bad spirit that comes in when we sleep, cannot go through the whole body, and it stays only in the hands. Because the holiness of the nails stops this. And now you wake up in the morning, you have to take away this negative spirit. So we do Netilat Yadayim. That's why we do it 3 times, because if you don't do it 3 times, it doesn't go away. So we do Netilat Yadayim, and then the spirit goes away. On Yom Kippur, you don't have to wash the whole hand. Why? Because you remember Hasatan 364. The Satan doesn't have a lot of power on Yom Kippur. This is not his day. This is a day of holiness, of spirituality. So he even at night of Yom Kippur, he can't take over all your hand. This spirit doesn't go to the whole of your hand, only half of it. So you don't need to wash everything. You just need to wash half of it. So that's the reason we wash only half of it. Same thing is with the face. You know why we wash our face? Of course, because we want to feel fresh, but the spiritual reason is because if you pay attention, when you wake up in the morning, in the eyes you have a little bit of I don't know how you call it, but a little bit of like this yellow thing, right? comes from the negative powers that came in at night. So we take it away. But on Yom Kippur, it's not very strong. So we don't wash our face. We don't need to take a shower. Because shower takes judgments out. You know that. If you feel tired, or if you feel very stressed, if you feel a lot of bad things happens to you, one of the things you should do, go take a shower. Because water is good energy. Takes away negativity. On Yom Kippur, we don't do it. Because this is such a holy day, we don't need the shower even. And it's not allowed to take a shower. Because you don't need it. You need to focus on your spirituality. Don't focus on your physical body at all. Yom Kippur, it's a day that we focus on our spiritual. That's why a lot of people, they stay in synagogue the whole day. We pray the whole day. We learn the whole day. We do holy things the whole day. We love each other the whole day. We forgive each other the whole day. Unity the whole day. That's spirituality. And that's one day that we can feel a little bit of spirituality. But there's another deeper thing on Yom Kippur, that this is our spiritual work on Yom Kippur. What's our purpose in life? I'll tell you what's our purpose in life. Each one of us, deep inside our heart, the purpose is to enjoy. We want to enjoy. That's what we live for. And people that don't enjoy, they don't want to leave. Now, the problem that we are familiar only with physical enjoyment. And physical enjoyment is disappointing. You know why? Because it has a lot of limit and a leftover taste. I'll give you an example. I like shawarma. But if I'm going to work in a shawarma, and I'm going to eat a shawarma for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, after 3 days, I'm just going to go buy pizza. Why? You love shawarma. Yeah, but I can't. It's not tasty anymore. The physical body has limits. When you're hungry, you eat 1 plate, 2 plates. Let's say you are very hungry, 3 plates. The 4th one we say, someone wants, I don't want anymore. The physical enjoyment is, I know people that they like to eat so much. I heard about someone like this, that he eats and then he can't enjoy anymore, so he's, I'm sorry, he's taking this out to have a space to eat more. Because it's an enjoyment. This is a physical enjoyment. Physical enjoyment, Rabotai, this is something that is limited. To be married, it's an enjoyment, should be. Right? We should enjoy being, we don't want to be alone. Single people, they want to get married. Because they don't want to be alone, they want to be together, they want to love each other, they want to have this enjoyment of love and everything. But if your marriage is only physical, so when you in the same house with the same person for such a long time, it loses the enjoyment. And this is dangerous. That's why people cheat. Now we know it's not right. But that's, if our marriage is only physical, that's what's going to happen. Most of the people in the world today, they live together not because of love. They live together because, okay, we have kids already, and there's nothing better, So we'll stay together. And why they got to this place? Because their relation is built only on the physical enjoyment. And physical enjoyment has limits. And by the way, that's why there's certain systems that helps it. For example, nida. You know what's nida? There's a time in Judaism that the lady and the husband and the wife are separated for 2 weeks. So the Gemara says it's very healthy. Why? Because when you're separated, you're a little bit... אתה מתגעגע. You miss. It's like, okay, so I didn't eat a shawarma for 2 weeks, so after 2 weeks, the shawarma is tasty again. I'm sorry to describe it like this, but that's how it is, okay? So that's a good system. But that's a physical. That's when our relation is physical. But if you want to really love, you have to get some spirituality inside into your marriage. You have to get some spirituality into your eating, into everything in life. Now, Yom Kippur, it's the day that each one of us can taste a little bit of spiritual enjoyment. Those people who stay the whole day on Yom Kippur in synagogue, and they really pray, and they really try to learn, and they really try to connect, and they really try to hear the shofar in the end, and they really try to do all those spiritual things, ask him after Yom Kippur, how do you feel? He will tell you, I feel satisfied. I feel clean. I feel ragua. Ragua, it's relaxed. This feeling is very healthy. This feeling of forgiving each other, of loving each other, doesn't matter what you did to me. This is a spiritual enjoyment. That's something that on Yom Kippur we taste, but the problem, we have to take it also to the other days after. Yom Kippur tells you you have a way to have a spiritual enjoyment. I always tell people that my best enjoyment is learning. So most people, they don't understand me. Once, not long ago, I made a class only for men. And then they told me, Rabbi, we have a soccer team. We play once a week. Please come with us one time. So I said, I want to, because you want me to come, but I feel for me it's a waste of time. I have something more enjoyable to do. So they told me what? So I told them to learn Torah. So they looked at me like, learning Torah more than soccer? What's happened to you? Get a little bit, תשתחרר קצת. Relax a little bit. Learning Torah, it's a work. Soccer, it's fun. But they never ever will understand me. You know why? Because they never tasted the spiritual taste that I tasted. It's something you have to taste. And it's come only through work. I remember when I play guitar, I started when I was grade 1. So my parents, every Russian parent, if his kid doesn't play an instrument, he felt he didn't do his mission in life. You have to know music. So I said I want to know guitar. So I went to learn guitar. So I was so excited. I saw my father is playing. It was so nice. I said I also want to. So I went to the class, and there was a Russian teacher, very strict one. And I thought the first day I'm coming and I'm playing and everything. That's what I thought. And then he's like, do this. And it was so boring, and also was pain in the hands. And another class like this, and another class like this. Like 5, 6 classes like that. I almost said to my parents, I don't want to go again. It's boring. But then, after a few classes, already I saw that from those small things, the boring things that we did, a melody came in. And now it's easier. And then I started to play. And it was nice. And now, I love to play. When I want to relax, I go play guitar. Why? Because now I know how to play. I know the taste of it already. Same thing is in learning Torah. Same thing is in praying. Some people say, Rabbi, Yom Kippur, the whole day to pray. I can't, it's boring. I don't know where the page, I don't know I know it's boring. Because you just started the guitar lesson. But if you're going to take it seriously on Yom Kippur, and you're going to try to make an effort, you're going to slowly feel it. I told my wife, one of my best enjoyments in life is to go to Dufferin Park and talk to Hashem. That's my enjoyment. She thought I'm crazy. You're talking to God. That's what you love to do? So I told her, you don't know how I enjoy it. After I come from the park, talking to Hashem, I feel so much energy, so much power, so much hope. In the beginning it was very hard. I did it because it's written in the books that it's good. That's what I did it. I was sitting in the park, and I said, okay, Hashem, I have to talk to you. So what's up? I even didn't have words. It's called hitbodedut, right? It's written in the books of Breslov that that's one of the most important things for a Jew, is to talk to Hashem. Make a relationship with God. You're His son. Okay, so how I make a relationship? Go talk to Him. It's very hard in the beginning. It's even boring, like, you know everything. What you want me to tell you? But then after one time and another time and another time, it becomes an enjoyment. And that's what we need to do on Yom Kippur. On Yom Kippur, we cancel our physical body. We don't eat, we don't drink, we don't do physical things. We just focus on spirituality, to taste a little bit of spirituality, to see that this is something that has an enjoyment, spiritual enjoyment. And then to try to take it to the other days. So that's one of the spiritual works we should do on Yom Kippur. Last thing, Rabotai, I know it's late already. Before Yom Kippur, the most important thing is forgiving and asking for forgiveness. This thing, the Zohar say, if you don't forgive someone, or if someone is mad at you, and you know that you are wrong, and you have to make peace, and you don't do it, there's no point of you doing Yom Kippur at all. Your Yom Kippur doesn't work. That's what the Zohar says. We have to get clean to Yom Kippur. Means, and I'm not just talking about people that are far away from us, means not relatives. I'm talking about their relatives. The first person you should ask forgiveness is your wife and your husband. Because they suffer from you the most. This is first. Second one is your parents. Because they are the second. And to ask for a real forgiveness. Be'emet. We have to be good. That's our mission in life. Now I'll tell you, there's a mitzvah in the Torah says, Ve'afta l'recha kamocha. You should love your friend, the other Jew, like you love yourself. This mitzvah was not given to love people that we love. People that are good to us, of course I'm going to love them. If you don't love a person that is good to you, you have a problem. You have to go to a Barbanel, to where all the crazy people are. He is good to you, so why don't you love him? The Torah said this mitzvah to love those who did bad to you. That's the mitzvah. Those people that did bad things to you, you need to work on yourself to love them. That's hard, right? Yeah, I know. No, nobody agrees with me. We know this is the truth. Because what's the point of this mitzvah? I love those people that are nice to me. You don't need to tell me, love the people that are nice to you. You understand? So why did Hashem give us a mitzvah to love? To love those who are not nice to you. This is the work to love him. So how can I love him? You know what he did to me? You want me to love someone that stole $300,000 from me? Yes. How to do that? That's a different topic. Maybe I'll tell you one thing. Whatever happens to you, someone stole $300,000 from you, Hashem gave him a permission to do it. If you would not deserve it, it would never happen to you. As Jews, we have to look at situations in life like this. Someone did something bad to me. Okay. So he is bad. Okay. But there is God in the world? Yes. God could stop him, right? Why didn't God stop him? יצר הרע של מי?
של ההוא.
אבל הקדוש ברוך הוא יכל לעצור את זה. Why didn't he do? Because he deserved. When someone gets something bad in life, it's because God decided you need to get it. Where it came from, it can come from a lot of places, a lot of people. This guy has a calculation with Hashem, and he's going to get his punishment. But this is not my business. It's not my business. I love him. That's Jewish life. That's Jewish life. And if we're going to go even deeper to this concept, anything happens to us is because of our own sins. According to Kabbalah, when you make a sin, you create a bad angel, bad energy. This bad energy comes into your wife, your kids, your parents, and then they do things against you. It's not them even. It's that spirit that came through them because it has to revenge on you. That's why really the Zohar says if someone does something bad to you, you know what you should do? You should hug him, kiss him, and say thank you very much. That's the truth. Thank you very much that you told me that something is wrong with me. Because if I was a tzaddik, righteous, Hashem would never let something like that happen to me. Because there's God in the world. But that's very deep. I know it's very hard to hear. We have to go into all the details. We don't have time. But we have to understand. We have to love every Jew before Yom Kippur. We have to work on it. It's not easy. But that's our work. And also, not just to love them, we have to forgive them. If someone asks you to forgive him, don't be cruel. Forgive him. Because someone that doesn't forgive is cruel. You know why? We ask on Yom Kippur, Hashem, forgive me, I was so bad. So Hashem says, you don't forgive to others. Why should I forgive you? They did bad to me. You also did bad to the world. To my world. You ruined my world. Why should I forgive you? Hashem would never forgive to a person that doesn't forgive to others. That's a rule.
Just the Jews? It's not about others? Just the...
I would say everyone, every person. Every person. We should not, you know what? When you keep in your heart something on someone, you become sick. Why do you need it for? Just let it go. You know, and if you can't let it go, you know what you should do? You should buy that person a present. Or give him money, even without him knowing. Just take $1,000, give him under the... And you know what? What's going to happen? Automatically, you're going to start to love him. You know why? Because when you give to someone, parts of your soul goes to him, and because you love yourself, you're going to love him. That's a rule. Any person you give him, you love him. You give to your dog, you love your dog. You give to your wife, you love your wife. You don't give to your wife, you're not going to love your wife. Bezat Hashem, I want to bless all of you, and then we're going to have questions. I want to bless all of you. Gmar Chatima Tova. HaKadosh Baruch Hu should fulfill all your wishes. And Bezat Hashem, whatever was written on us in Shamayim, the good things should come to us. The bad things should be cancelled, Bezat Hashem. And Yahi Ratzon, that this year is going to be the best year we had ever. And Bezat Hashem, in this year we should all, Bezat Hashem, be a part of the Geulah, of the becoming of the Mashiach. And Yahi Ratzon, the next year we're going to make this shiur in Jerusalem in the temple together with them. In Hebrew.